Thanks very much, Brad. And it's true, we have an exceptional relationship. I do consider Brad to be one of my heroes. Through my whole prognosis post-injury, it looked bleak to me. And then this guy Brad rolls into my room with a big smile and coaches basketball and C4-5 in a manual wheelchair, like unheard of. Nobody else does it. So he is my hero. I really look up to him. He motivates me lots to come over and do these types of things, and he gives me the confidence to do that. So without further ado, I am the author of my new cookbook, Cooking with Cory. It's available in quite a few places, Costco, Chapters, Amazon, online on my website. And the recipe I'm going to make today is a fennel apple salad. It's very light, crisp, a little bit of sweetness in there with it's got some dried cherries, some roasted pistachios, fresh fennel bulbs, a little bit of apple, tiny bit of blue cheese. Do you mind locking that, Fernando? Thanks, bud. A little bit of blue cheese, a bit of black pepper, a little bit of walnut oil, which I brought from home, and a little bit of sushi vinegar. That's it. Oh, I almost forgot our little friend here, the little Thai dragon chili. Just one, too many, and then you don't feel very good. Brings out all the flavors, puts them all together. It's a really, really fun and easy dish, and I'm going to show you guys how to make that right now. This is my reason why I got back in the kitchen. I was in the kitchens ever since I was 12 years old, and before, working with grandma, working with mom, working with dad. And after my injury, I really wanted to get back in the kitchen and do some more cooking and entertaining. And I tried very hard to use a long, regular chef's knife. And anybody who's quadriplegic knows what it's like to try to pick one of those up. So we used to duct tape it to my hand, and I would just swing. And as you can imagine, everybody would just run, and it was frightening, and it was a horrible experience. And I didn't get that positive kind of reassurance of doing a good job or having that safe feeling of being in the kitchen. And it was a trip that my father made to Alaska about 10 years ago, and he picked up one of these knives. It's an Inuit skinning knife. It's called an ulu. Ulu, U-L-U. Okay, and you can find it at ulu.com as well. And because of its horizontal nature, you've got really good control. You can slice with it. You can rock back and forth. You can chop with it. And it made all the difference in my cooking and my desire to get back in the kitchen and the safety. Safety is paramount, because if you start cutting yourself, you start having no fun. So these are fennel. It's a root vegetable. Okay, the top grows little flowers and has the seeds, which give you fennel seeds. This is the bulb that comes from the ground. We clean it all up. And right now we're just going to take off the top, the green parts. It's quite a tough root vegetable, which again lends you really nice control with this knife. And all I do is just split it in half, so it gives you a little bit of an easier working surface. So sometimes when you want to try to pick all this stuff up and get it into a bowl and you've got limited hand function, it can be a bit of a pain. I prefer just to put the board up on the bowl, and then you can just push everything in. I do the same thing with a pan when you're cooking at the stove, and you can just slide everything in. You don't have to actually be able to pick it all up. I take the opportunity just to nip off one little side. Can you all see that? I just clean off one little side, and then the apple lays down flat, and then you can just take off each side. Just like that. So you can use any apple you like. I really like those, I think they're called Asian pears, like a Japanese apple pear. They pair really, really, really well with this. But any crisp apple. The Macintosh, maybe not so much. It's a little bit too woody. It'll soak up too much of the other ingredients. All right, so here's our apples. And this little trick works the same way. If you're at your kitchen station, you have your pot on the stove, and you've got some chopped up chicken or something, same thing applies. You can just put it right up on the side of the pan, sweep everybody in, and you don't have to try to pick it all up, because that drives me crazy. When you see these cooking shows, you know, and the guys they're cutting so fast, and then they scoop it up and throw it in, and I'm jealous of that, but I figured out a way to get around it, and it seems to work really well for me. So coming back to our little chili pepper friend, we're just gonna, he doesn't want to stay there, no, he wants to get in the bowl. So we're just gonna give it little tiny slices. So we got some little rings, and then we're just gonna cut those down just a little bit more, just so you don't end up with one big giant chunk of chili in your mouth. because these are very, very, very hot. And you can find them at almost any grocery store, any import store. I love buying them dried in the wintertime. I do grow my own chili peppers in an organic garden that I have in my backyard. Okay, we'll just get all of this up into the bowl. There we go. Okay, so it's a very simple salad. We've got our fennel, we've got our apples, a little bit of chili peppers. These are some dried cherries. I get these at Costco, but you can find them anywhere that they sell any kind of baking ingredients. These ones are really good. They're Montessori cherries. I don't know what that means, but they're delicious. So we're gonna put those in there. A little bit of pistachios. They're just whole, raw. I buy them at a little import store. You can usually find them in any bulk section in the nut section. I buy them raw because I like to toast them myself. So often when they toast them, they either season them with salts or other preservatives or things like that. So a good choice is always to buy the raw nut, toast them in a pan just for about 5 minutes on medium-high heat. Keep them moving. They do like to burn. So we've got just a little bit of these. They have a really nutty smell. So I have a little bit of Rosenberg blue cheese here. It's a mild blue cheese. It's very creamy in texture. Has that tiny bit of that blue smell that most people really don't like. This is a good opportunity. It's like a step one into the blue cheese world. It's delicious. It's not overpowering or overbearing. And here, I have a neat little spoon. So many times you go to find things that work for you in the kitchen and don't work for you in the kitchen. This is my favorite little spoon. It works really well. It sits in my hand really nice. And this is some Himalayan pink salt. It's unrefined. I have a friend that's a distributor that brings it over. And it's the only salt I've ever come across where I don't get those reactions I was talking about earlier from sodium. All the processed salts, iodized salts, table salts, even kosher, even the sea salt, I have a very, very bad reaction. My spasticity goes through the roof. I'm miserable, and this salt, it doesn't do that. It brings out all the flavors of my food, but I don't get all the bad side effects. So we're gonna add about a 1/4 teaspoon in there. And then here I have a little bit of walnut oil. It's about 1/3 olive oil, 1/3 walnut oil, and 2/3 olive oil. And I used a really good organic pressed olive oil. And we're gonna add in about a tablespoon. Here we go. And these squeeze bottles are great. I keep so many of them around the house, and they all have different things in them. Okay, and our last ingredient, our second last ingredient here, is a little bit of rice vinegar, or sushi vinegar, or rice wine vinegar. It goes by quite a few different names. You usually find it in the Asian section of your grocery store or import store. And we're gonna use about a tablespoon of that as well, right there. And then, this is one of my favorite toys in the kitchen for sure. It's made by Bodum, name brand. I don't really care for that, but it's got batteries in it and the pepper's up in the top, and you just have to turn it over. Definitely one of my favorite toys. So all we have left to do now is add in a little bit of some citric zest. So if you could zest just a little bit of that in there, yep. Just watch your knuckles, because that thing will take them off. That's why I get her to do it. I've done that before. So we're just adding a little bit of lime zest off the outside, not the white part of the lime, just the green part, and it imparts a ton of citric flavor. That looks really good. Yeah, and I'll take the lime, and I'm gonna cut it in half, and then I'll get you to juice it. So we're just gonna put in a little bit of lime juice, and give it a big old mix, and then we'll plate it up. It's simple, it's easy, but I guarantee you one bite and you're gonna absolutely love it. Even people like last night, I hate blue cheese. They went back and finished the whole bowl. There was none left. So I'm really glad to have you guys here today, and I really wanted to thank you for all making it here. I know what it takes to get up in the morning and get going and go somewhere and it being new and things. So really appreciate you guys coming out.